item. If you guys have questions, please enter them in the chat. Please use our QA functionality. I will be monitoring that so that I can answer any questions as our guests are speaking. But without further ado, I'd like to hand things over to Sold.com CEO Matt Woods so he can take over and start this presentation with you all. So Matt, please, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Deanna, and good afternoon. Good afternoon to everyone. I am optimistic, I'm sure, in fact, that this is going to be an insightful and productive use of your time this afternoon. Grateful that you would be willing to spend some time with us this afternoon. As Dee mentioned, want to just make sure from a matter of housekeeping that when we promoted this webinar, this opportunity, we had requested or invited you to submit some questions that you would like us to talk about today. And so we have largely built our outline today to visit with Tom about a number of those questions. But as you come up with more, or if Tom says things that trigger something in your mind, please do feel free to submit those. And our agent success team will be reviewing those questions as they come in. They may respond directly to you if it's a simple response. They may just reply right into the chat function and reply. If not, they'll attempt to tee those up for me and Tom as we kind of weave our way through the dialogue this afternoon. And so with that, I want to introduce our man of the hour. Our guest today is founder and CEO of Ferry International, the #1 ranked real estate educator by Swainpool Power 208 years in a row, a best-selling author with Life by Design and Mindset, Model, and Marketing. And with over 30,000 coaching hours clocked in, that number is just blows my mind, Tom. 30,000 hours of coaching clocked in. He is fueled by a commitment to discipline and holding professionals accountable to fulfill their greatness. And with that, please welcome my friend, Mr. Tom Ferry. Tom,
hey,
good afternoon.
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much, Matt. And clearly for my team, we need to throw that bio in the trash. That's so I feel like I'm sorry, Matt. That's probably the worst way to start. Thank you for all those kind words. And I need to tell my team, shorten the bio. We all have too much ADD. Just let's get going, right? So happy December. I got a few of the questions in advance, so I did my best to prep sort of in between meetings and sessions and podcasts and everything else today. But, as always, it's always a pleasure to see you and be a part of this, and any contribution I can make to any agent out there, that's what I'm all about. So thanks for having me.
You're awesome. Well, listen, we have been looking forward to this for weeks, and it's shaping up to be our most subscribed webinar to date. And I suspect that perhaps that's a matter of a couple of things. Obviously, number one, who doesn't love Tom Ferry? Why wouldn't they want to? Who wouldn't recognize the value in coming to spend an hour at your feet? And the other, I think, could be the topic that we teed up, which is what agents need to be doing now to win in 2023. And as I think about that, it doesn't seem like there's been a whole lot of winning as of late in our field, right? It's been lots of headwinds. In fact, you read the trade headlines and they read like a tabloid magazine lately, right? With upheaval everywhere and, heads rolling and losses and, change. And it just feels that it went from so great to not so great in such a shocking fashion or speed or pace. And so my first question, I think, for you, Tom, is I think it's easy to get discouraged with the press, with what you hear. And we know perhaps that things aren't quite as good as they have been, but things have been in a little bit of an anomaly state these last couple of years as it is. But all that said, I want to kind of put market conditions aside and ask you about mindset. It is easy to get discouraged from a mindset perspective in today's environment. And maybe what are your thoughts, or how important is having a good headspace in today's market when the winds feel like they're howling about us?
So first of all, thank you. It's such a broad subject. What I would probably start with is a question for everybody. How many of you can remember your first reaction to 9/11? I was in New York doing a speech for Marsha Rand when I'd done 40 minutes on the topic of mental toughness and how to do your work with inspired action, regardless of what's going on around you. And then Matt, the then not now CEO Matt Rand, walked up, and his mother, they put the microphone over her hand over the microphone and said, "Hey, a plane just hit the World Trade Center." And I can remember when I first heard that, it rattled me, but I didn't understand the magnitude of what was happening until I got a little deeper into it. But I had to then say to 600 people in the room, here's what just happened, and here's what we can do about it. And we were just talking about this. And in an environment that is, as you can all remember, that intense, the people that freak out, freaked out. The people that get quiet got more quiet. The people that leaned in and wanted to contribute, leaned in and wanted to contribute. The people that always say, I don't know, they all said, I don't know. That seems to be the pattern, whether it was 9/11 or you all remember, for me, it was March 15th, sitting with my executive team saying, I just got early word that the county's going to shut down. We're all going to go remote. It's March 2020. And here's the good news. We got on Zoom in 2016, so we were prepared for this. We're going to go remote. We're going to work, we're going to help our clients. We're going to create a new program called Pivot. We're going to talk about the changes we need to make. And in the middle of all of that, as every one of you knows, there was so much uncertainty, and it's not unlike what we're facing today, except the difference is, unlike when the real estate market just took off, call it May, June, July 2020, and we just went gangbusters and rates dropped to kill. Remember the recession that we were actually in? They dropped the rates and everything just skyrocketed like crazy, and people started moving and selling houses, and it was just free money. Remember all that insanity? Well, we weren't prepared for that. We at least knew, I was talking about with my clients in December of last year, January, February, March, winter is coming. Don't be shocked when rates are at 6. There's the only way we're going to be able to deal with the inflation is we're going to have to drive the cost of everything up in terms of rates and money and banking. We're going to have to do this. So it's coming. So even though, Matt, it felt like it hit a lot of people like a ton of bricks, a lot of us were paying attention. We looked on the other side and said, I see all the clouds. It's on our way. How fast and how hard is it going to be? So as we talk mindset, I'm going to give you a tactic, something simple. Think about, I think about LeBron James, right? I'm a huge diehard Laker fan. This is not a Laker thing. Think about when he left the Cleveland Cavaliers. He wins the title. I don't want to misquote it, Matt, but I want to say it was the first time that they had won the championship, like so many agents won in 2020 and 2021, and potentially the first 3 months to 6 months of 2022 before it kind of changed to what it is now. You won the championship, and then LeBron left and went to Los Angeles, and all of Cleveland went, boo, and they all fell apart. But you know what they said? They said, we're still going to put up shots. We're still going to play defense. We're still going to build our team. We're still going to do the plays that we know work. Yeah, we're missing a key component, but we're going to keep going forward because that's what winners do. Yeah. And the thing that I want to stress to you in this environment, especially as we sit here on December 6th, 7th, 8th, I don't know what day it is, whatever, Matt, I would challenge you to do this. Ready? In your notes, draw a line down the notes and write down on one side, mindset brings me energy. Mindset drains me. And what we can't afford to do, you and I as entrepreneurs, is people that if we don't kill, we don't eat. If we're not acting like metaphorically the lion, not the sheep in this environment, going out, making the phone calls, doing the work, we can't in this environment afford to have a whole bunch of things on our list of things that drain us. So do I pay attention to the news? Yeah, a little bit, right? Do I watch the rates every day? Absolutely, yes. Do I try and study the things that I can do in an environment like this to make a difference? Yes. Do I look at the 70% of the transactions that are being done and try and get my clients to spend more of their energy and time doing those deals versus the 30% of the transactions that no longer happen? Do I get them to focus on, oh my goodness, my days on market now is 48 days. It used to be 48 seconds. I say, there's nothing we can do about that, but we can price more effectively. We can get sellers that aren't really motivated off the market or maybe push them out to the spring. Like we just focus on the stuff that we can control. So tactically for you as my friend watching, I would write down a list of the things that you do that drain you and stop doing them. See, I believe fundamentally all of you wouldn't be on this if you weren't what I talked about during the pandemic, a lion or a sheep. right? And I actually now say it, Matt, a little more provocative. Now I say predator or prey. Which one are you? Predator. See, I think of like a lion, a lioness. She wakes up every day with only one thought. I need to go kill to take care of my family. She doesn't care what the rates are. She doesn't care what the weather is. She says, my belly's hungry. My kids' bellies are hungry. I need to go do whatever it takes. Now, maybe you can't wrap your head around that level of disciplined thought, but what you can do is say, I wake up in the morning and I watch CNN and Fox News, then I read the headlines, then I want to like shoot myself because I'm so depressed. And then I realize that my energy is drained. Then I drink a bunch of coffee and I get all jacked up and then I lose all that energy. And then I'm supposed to make phone calls and I'm totally distracted because my brain isn't properly working and I didn't eat properly. What plays are you running every day that get you in a state of gratitude? What are you running every day that gets you in a state of, I know my market. I'm looking at the correlations on pricing every single day inside the MLS to know that days on market for a 4-bedroom in my area priced reasonably, those things sell in 2 seconds. But maybe the condo market right now isn't as effective, or maybe it's lower units if you're in a vertical living environment, or maybe it's the outlier price points of, say, my clients in the Phoenix metro, the outlier stuff. We're actually seeing price decreases, and we're actually seeing now the Invitation Homes of the world that are now selling those properties in tapes, which we haven't talked about since the REO days of 2007 and 8. The more you understand the local market, not the national news, your local data, you're then empowered. Your mindset is right to go talk to as many people as possible. So very simple. What do you do in the morning and the evening that gets you fired up and emotionally ready, charged? What do you do in the morning and the evening that, just be honest, like you may have always done it. It may have something it's been your routine forever. I always drink an entire 5th of Jack Daniels before I go to bed. Maybe, just maybe, that play is not going to work in this environment and it's time to be honest and stop it. So that would be my answer, Matt.
I love it. I love it. It makes me think about, your point about focusing on things that are in our control.
100%.
That we spend, probably 80% of our time worrying about things that don't happen. Mm-hmm. And then of the 20% of things that do happen, 80% of that's probably inconsequential. Right? Like it doesn't really matter.
I'll give everybody a perfect example because you and I both know it's cliche, right? And yet we don't take the actions that we should because we're afraid about something that could. So yesterday, sitting in this studio, I had 14 of the most extraordinary agent team leaders. DJ and Lindsay, 3,000 transactions in Jacksonville, Florida. Levi Rogers, San Antonio, Texas, 2,600 transactions. These industrialized teams that are marketing at scale, right? Arbitraging, and I say that with the most respect, of the Solds and all these other beautiful portals that provide us these lead opportunities. They're just doing it at a really high level. And one of the gals, as we went around the room and said, what's working right now to get listings? One of the gals says, well, I worried about doing this so much. You've done this before. You get a really good idea and you're like, okay, I'm going to try that. But what if I do and someone doesn't like it? What if I do it and it doesn't land well? What if it's off brand? What if it's this? What if it's that? So you worry yourself into a lack of productivity. Her name is Stephanie Younger. I'm going to give you the scoop. It was a black postcard, black glossy, which is kind of on brand for her, high-end Los Angeles. And all it was check your home value here with a QR code. And she mailed that out. The DRE stuff on the back, but like no branding, no photo, Compass Real Estate, none of that was on there, Matt. But I told her that this was the single best listing attraction direct mail piece I had ever seen. And I had hundreds, when I taught this in August of this year, hundreds of case studies that this worked. Hundreds of case studies. But she had talked herself out of it, because what if? She finally sends it. Here's the numbers. She sent it to 14,000 homes, cost her $11,000 because the QR code map that she actually used was custom to that house, which is more expensive than just a regular QR code. So you might want to think about that, my friend watching. It was custom to the house. So the second they hit it, it already, through the QR code, auto-populated cell phone, address, and any information that it could scrub from the internet about that person. So I knew in real time, Tom and Kathy Ferry, 1918 Olive Street, Dallas, Texas. Bam, just like that. Of the 14,000, she had 545 as of this morning, full form fill outs, 2 listings taken already, 3 more appointments set. Now, before you say, well, that's not that great, her average sales price is $2.5 million. So
Yeah.
what I want to stress to you, my friend watching right now, whether you're sitting by yourself and you're alone at your house or your office, or you're with your team and you're hanging out with your pals, I want to stress to you, it is only through action that we exercise our fears. Right. And when I give you something as simple as that, and by the way, I'll throw up later, Matt, if it's appropriate, a QR code, and we'll give everybody a copy of that direct mail, because it's nothing. It's a black QR code, white font, check your home value here. Someone will say, what font? Who cares? It says, check your home value here. And it's a QR code. And when you flip it over, there's no photo of you. There's just what you need to have for the DRE and your license information, all that stuff, kind of in fine print, kind of small. And it works. Stop overthinking, run plays that work. That's my message.
You remind me, is when we started our business 4 years ago, we used to sit in our conference room and beat everything up, question everything. And now, what if we do this? We should change the copy to say this. We should change the subject line, the headers. And we used to run ourselves in circles. It was a miracle we ever got anything actually out to market. Right. But when we did, the irony is our best ideas flopped the worst. And so it was just funny that we used to spend so much effort and energy opining with all this wisdom that we all thought we had, only to find out that the customer didn't care actually. But the best thing we learned was to quit thinking about it and to start spraying,
Right.
Just spray it out there, and then let the data tell us actually how many QR codes got scanned, and did the font actually matter? And we found out it hardly ever did.
Right. And what if I told you the first person that sent that card, the early stage test, when he sent it out to 12,000 people now, almost, because he's done it now 3 times to 12,000 homes, 3 times. And he's in the high teens from listings taken, average sales price, $900,000. When he first sent it, he said, I sent it out and I got this immediate response, and holy crow, and yada, yada, yada. And I'm not his direct coach. I have 227 coaches in 7 countries. So I'm communicating sort of through the coach to Mike Fields, the agent. And I say, congrats, send it again. And he said, to the same list? And I said, you mailed it out to 12,000 people. Only 287 people gave you full form information, didn't have the same type of QR code technology that's now available. Yeah. So now he's learned. He's like, yeah. And I said, send it again. So he sent it, the same exact card, but he went from black to orange, and he actually got a better response. So one insight for everybody, and Matt, I know it wasn't the question, but I would love, if you don't mind, to share.
Please.
Back in this meeting yesterday, so all of these men and women, I'm going to say this to you, please do not take this as bravado. Take it as, when you've worked with a bunch of people for a decade, you've got to challenge them with something big to get them to do more than their new normal comfort zone, right? Like when I met Lisa Chinati, she went from 6 houses to 82 houses in 1 year, right? Then she went to 175, and then she built a team and the whole thing blew up. But, fast forward later, 7 years later, she's doing, sub 1,000 transactions as this small team in Massachusetts, right? So I have to challenge them to think differently. And the challenge that I'm saying to them is, I want to see, of all the teams that we work with, and of course I work with a lot of individual agents, so the same rules apply, who can take the most listings in a year? And the number I put in front of everybody was, who can take 1,200 listings in 1 year? Now, when I say that to you, before you go, that's bananas. Maybe you're 1,200, like a 4-minute mile, like making 10 free throw shots. Maybe your 1,200 is go on 100 listing appointments and take 47. I don't know. But I know in this environment, if I challenge the status quo and I put out here, let's do something that no one's doing, and then let's collectively take all of our best marketing ideas, put them into a Google Doc so we can all share the data to know that this one's running Google pay-per-click ads and getting 1.5% conversion on an average lead cost of $13. That's a $1,300 acquisition cost for a listing at $600,000. Doesn't everybody want to know what Google ad that person's running? Doesn't everybody want to know what they're saying at the top of the funnel, the middle of the funnel, the bottom of the funnel, what they're saying on listing appointments? The answer is, of course, yes. So collectively, we're working on this, and here's the hook. What we agreed on yesterday is, to your point, Matt, it doesn't matter what I think or you think. The only thing that matters is how the customers respond.
Yeah.
right? So getting a bunch of top agents, like the people you have here in this community, Matt, to start thinking about A/B testing. So I'm not just going to send one postcard. I'm going to send two postcards. And then, hey, whichever one gives me the best response, whether that's an 800 number or a QR code, easy to track, then, hey, that's the winner. And I'm going to send that postcard at scale, right? It's email marketing, the subject line. I'm going to change the subject line and use A/B testing and figure out which one works and then go with the winner. If each of you can stop doing marketing like this, come on 7, but instead create a Google Doc this afternoon that says marketing tests, right? Hypothesis. Can I get listings from open houses? Here's the test. I'm going to put a QR code on a piece of paper at the front door, and the door is closed, and it says, please hit the QR code in order to enter. Watch how many people walk up, scan the QR code, you auto capture all of their information, not the way I was describing it earlier. iPhones will capture usually cell phone email automatically. And all of a sudden, just that one test, hey, instead of just having an open house where I used to ask them to sign in, now everybody's signing in and they can't change the number of the email, etc. And I'm collecting more information. The more we test, the more we thoughtfully look at our business, to your point earlier, Matt, the more you run plays that you know absolutely work. And it doesn't matter if there's 30% less transactions, or my friend who I just talked to in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, 49% less transactions. 49% less transactions so far in the fourth quarter, but get this, home prices are up 29%. Something to think about, right?
Something to think about. A thought comes to mind. You talk about, this mindset effect and this fear that people have, or analysis paralysis, right?
Right.
What do you have any tips for people to go from thought, which is usually restrained by fear, into actually pulling the trigger and doing something, whether it's hiring a coach, whether it's sending out that marketing, collateral, whatever it is? So many people allow their own fear to cripple them. Any tricks, any tips for how to get over that and take the plunge? In a controlled manner anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think, see, the thing is, what I don't want, we all watched a lot of friends over-index on waste in 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that in some cases, we all know someone, right, that, went from a net worth of this to a net worth of that, right? What felt like overnight in 7, 8, 9, 10. So I'm very conscious of those emotional wounds, Matt, still being real for people. Yeah. So I take a different approach. I say, first and foremost, know the plays that you run that work. So if you took, like, I don't have it here inside my studio, but I'm a fan of like whiteboards and writing it all out before I put it in a Google Doc. Yeah. And I would literally take, those white sticky big things, and I would write down, okay, plays that work. Email. Wow, when I send an email every week, my open rate stays good and I seem to generate leads from it. Send emails every week, right? Yeah. Hey, when I do a listing launch where I hold a mega open house versus an open house where I actually have a pre, during, and post strategy to invite all the neighbors in, right? Do extraordinary videos, do this massive launch on the property, ice cream truck outside if it's appropriate. Maybe it's putting snow on outside and you're in Phoenix, Arizona, and that's fun. You put Santa Claus out there. Like, you do this over the top thing that has every homeowner in the marketplace go, that is how you market a house, right? So you write that down and say, well, then if I know it works, the cardinal sin that so many people watching have, and again, we don't have the chat up or the talking, so I don't know, is you do something, it works, and then you don't do it again. Yeah. You do something, it worked, and you don't do it again. So the first thing is, before you look at all the shiny pennies of all the new things you could do because it's a new year, I would say to you, list out all the things you know work. Then list out the things you know don't work. Stop doing them. Yeah. Then I would say to you, try this one on. What if I told you you can only have 3 goals for this year? 3 goals. So if I was your coach, and I'm just going to imply that I'm not looking for the job, I'm just implying in this role. What if I told you, if I was your coach, I would say to you, you're only allowed to have 3 goals for the year, Matt. And the 3 goals should probably be number 1, the number of appointments you're committed to go on for the year. What is the number of appointments you're committed to go on for the year? Now you can say listing appointment, buyer appointment, all appointments. I would make the argument today, whoever controls the most listings wins the whole game. And we all know inside the MLS, look inside your MLS, the top 25% of the agents control 71% of all the volume, all the listings, all the inventory. The top 10% of your MLS controls 51% of all the listings. That's where you should put your concentration, in my opinion. So the first goal would be, how many listing appointments am I going to get? And then I'm going to have that up and visual inside my office. And that's going to be one of my focuses. Simple. Number 2, it is hard to argue against the consumer data that says 74% of consumers are selecting brands that they trust. So why would I not have a goal in a business where it's all about know, like, and trust to say, I'm going to build the most respected, most reviewed, most trusted, most called upon brand in my market. And if you wrote that down as a goal for you as an individual or you as a team, now all of a sudden with those first 2, I don't have to start telling you some of the actions you need to take in order to get there. Now it's not a question on the second one of, should I do a daily video like the gentleman I interviewed on my podcast today, who, Matt, I would do these 30-day video challenges. His name is David Schwartz. It's Schwartz Sells New York, I think it is, on Instagram. Matt, he sold 52 houses last year, right? He's so in a marketplace that is down 37%, he's at 58 transactions closed and pending.
Nice.
And he said to me today on my show, he said, I heard you loud and clear when you said an individual agent or a team must build a brand of know, like, and trust by providing value, knowing what your customers want. And it's not just video, it's email, it's text, it's the way you throw your open houses, it's your direct mail, it's your newsletter, it's video, yes. It's a whole bunch, it's your face, your voice, what you say, it's all that, right? So I said, how's your business doing now? Now that you're a year into this, he said, listen up carefully. He said, I'm shocked that I didn't get a tremendous number of DMs saying, hey, I love your stuff, come list my house. He said, I thought I would get more. And he said, I'm shocked that I didn't get more people that would just send me an email or go to my website and say, I watch all your videos, will you please list my house? He said, but what I was really shocked by is when I called a past client and checked in to say hi, they said, I watch all of your videos. I'm referring you to my friend. Like he said, I go on listing appointments now. And he said, Tommy, he said, like, literally, I can't wait for the show to come out, Max. You'll appreciate it. He literally said to me today on the show, he goes, I thought I was doing it to attract more. And what I actually got was ease with my past clients in Sphere, even more referrals from my past clients in Sphere, more direct business from my past clients in Sphere. He goes, and my agent brand. He said, now, like when I call and say, hey, Matt, it's David over at Keller Williams calling about, want to, present an offer, blah, blah, blah. They're like, dude, I love your stuff. Let's do a deal. You with me on this? So the first goal would be, how many appointments are you going to go on? The second one's going to be, what are you going to do over the next 12, 24, 36 months to build the most recognizable, most trusted, most liked, most called upon brand in your marketplace? And then the third one I would say to you is, I'd challenge you to say, obviously, how much volume, how much transactions, how much GCI, and most importantly, what's your profit goal? And if you could then, I know this is kind of a totally different answer to your question, Matt, but think about it, right? It's so easy to be just, I could give you 15 lead generation sources right now. And if you weren't clear on how many appointments, what I'm trying to accomplish with my brand, and what the end result numbers are, you might implement the wrong system.
Yeah.
But if I say to you, get those 3 clear, and then I say, hey, go to my QR code, download all my lead generation solutions, download all my conversion stuff, download all of our listing presentation materials, then you're listening through a filter of, is this going to help me get my 75, 100, 300 appointments? Oh, I can see how that would impact my brand. Let me do that. right? Oh, that's going to help me get one step closer to my volume or my profitability by saving some money here, being more effective there. I think that's why most people get distracted. Does that make sense?
Absolutely it does. By the way, you're striking a nerve. I'm seeing a lot of questions starting to pop about how to create a QR code. What do you, what do we do with those values? And so,
Hey Siri, what is the best QR code for real estate professionals? That's how you do it. Like, I'm not even going to let Siri respond.
I was just going to say,
Don't get lost in the how. Good, like I have
love it.
2 boys now. They're significantly older, but early on in their junior high school days, I'd be like, GTS guys, Google that stuff. Like, don't ask me. Like, I'm not smarter than a 4th grader. Just Google, right? What is the best QR code for real estate agents? What is the only QR code that would give me automatically the address, but I have to mail it? It's going to be more expensive.
Yeah,
Simple.
the answers are there. Yeah, I love
Yeah.
it. Hey, so maybe going back to the beginning of your response and,
Sure.
in terms of do the things that work, right? Like,
Yes.
one thought that comes to mind, and I can tell you from our business when we started, we didn't know what worked. We didn't know
Yeah.
at that point. So
Yeah.
we tried everything, right? And wouldn't you know, a lot of it did and a lot of it didn't work. And now we're at a place where, speaking from a marketing perspective, we're driving traffic into sold, going out and trying to find home sellers. We now are at a place where 75% of our monthly marketing budget is
Right.
going towards proven campaigns. But we still maintain that 25 has to be thrown against the wall.
Test.
And that's it.
Test.
And
Yep.
we know that maybe
100%.
it's all garbage, right? But we've
Right.
just decided that if we don't continue that evolution of testing and learning, the
Yep.
stuff that does work may not always continue to work, and you have to
Yeah.
continue to move forward. And so
Yes.
I think the thought that comes to mind there is, as a new agent, it's really hard when you don't have any knowledge of what works, but you have to
100%.
start to note, to your point, you said track the stuff that does, track
it
the
all.
stuff that doesn't, and build
Yep.
off of that, right?
Yep. Hey, Matt, can we look at a couple questions I see over here? So hello, anonymous attendee. From a new agent, aren't the CMAs that are automatically being sent via those QR codes inaccurate? How do you solve for that? Well, first, don't send them an automated CMA. Some people will, if they're doing this at scale, they can use a solution like HomeBot or others. And I'm not an investor in any of the companies that do that, but I do invest in a lot of companies. So most are going to say they're going to get an autoresponder, ideally an autoresponder video from you, which your CRM can do, that says, hey, Tom Ferry, Banana Real Estate, thank you so much for requesting your home value. I'll be reaching out, or someone on my team will be reaching out to ask just a few more questions beyond what we already see in the tax records to make sure we give you the most accurate home value. Expect a call from this number, 949, blah, 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 right? Then someone is immediately calling, right? And someone said, well, what's the script? So, hey, Matt, Tom Ferry, Banana Real Estate, you were looking to get the value of your home. We're the company that sent that out. Do you have a minute for me? That's it.
Yeah.
Do you have a minute for me? Yes. Hey, so I noticed online you have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, approximately 1,500 square foot on a 6,000 square foot lot. I'm curious though, in order for me to give you the most accurate value of your home, something beyond Zillow and all those other automated robot things, what upgrades have you guys done in the last 2 years? What have you done? Tell me more, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. This also gives me a chance to build rapport. It also gives me a chance to say, I'm curious. Were you thinking about today's value? Were you thinking about next month's value, next year's value, 2 years value? What's important to you? Well, we were actually thinking, and here's a fun fact. You know this, Matt. In your notes, please write this down. Sellers decide to move 18 months to 2 years out, but they engage with stuff like this inside a window of 90 days.
Yeah.
This is when the intent, all of you in the Northeast, all of you in the Midwest, North, you know right now, anybody that's reaching out, their intent is really high.
Yeah.
It could be death, divorce, diplomas, diapers, any one of the D's, right? Or like, we're tired of the snow. We want to move. We want to go to, Southern Detroit, AKA Florida. So be very mindful right now. Intent is really strong for people that have the desire to do something now, but I'm sure we'll talk about follow-up. Everybody else is after 90 days to 18 months, and that's whoever follows up the best wins. Maybe we'll get into some of that as well.
That's so good. That's so good. So in other words, to that question, then it isn't about the value on the QR code, right? Like it is about the opportunity, that click represents, right?
Right. And just please, all of you, We all talk about know, like, and trust. Which one is the actual? I want to see, just for fun. I don't know if we can do it in the chat or in the comments or the questions, but I'd be super curious for everybody. What do you hallucinate is most important? Know, like, or trust? Know, like when selecting a real estate professional, what do you think is the most important? Know, like, or trust? Oh, I saw PJ out there, right? So anonymous attendee over in the Q&A section, I see. So it looks like we don't have the live webinar going. Oh, okay, I do see some people putting it in here. So Cassandra says trust. Catherine Johnson says trust. Cassandra Bickle says trust. Scott Schultz says trust. Melissa says trust. Casey says trust.
Seems like we have a scientific response.
All right, now here's what's great. Big shout out to Amanda Freeman. So what if I told you trust has been commoditized? You might want to write that down. Trust has been commoditized for the vast majority of real estate professionals because I can now look on Google, look on various portals, and I can see all of your reviews of all these people that know, like, and trust you. So trust has been commoditized. The game now is likability. Think about it like this, Matt. I'm sure you read the same NAR survey. Now, they only surveyed 2,200 people, but 2,200 people gives you a pretty good sense of where people are at. The survey basically said the following: 65% of the people that listed their house in the last 12 months listed their home with someone that they knew, someone that they liked, someone that they trusted, their former agent, their mom's referral, yada, yada. It was very tight. And of course that makes sense to us because all of us know selecting an agent's like selecting a doctor, right? It's like my wife, heaven forbid, sending me to the grocery store and saying, buy some chips for the party. I get on that chips aisle, Matt, and I'm like, dill pickle, banana flavor, non-GMO. Like my brain just goes, I look for anything of convenience and I just grab something and throw it in the bag because I have no idea. Today with real estate professionals, the most important thing is you and your brand and being likable. And you know what that really means? You being you. It's you being you. It's you putting yourself out there in print, audio, video, text, being social, throwing events. And I know that sounds probably old school and corny, but the data tells us it's all about likability right now. Think about it, Matt. Two agents go on the same presentation. They both offer the same price. Let's say they both even ridiculously discount their commission and they do a 30-day listing, like every wrong move you can imagine, right? They both do the same company, number one company in town, started at the same time in their career, sold the same number of houses, the same number of views. Who gets picked? The answer is the one that's most likable.
Yeah.
It's the person that showed up early, dressed for success, walked through, was well prepared, did the research to say, Matt, I know you know this, but this home was built in 1958, and the builder was actually Donald Brand of the Irvine Company, but it wasn't actually Don. It was actually his main lieutenant that he took from Mission Viejo in the ranch. His name was Jim Barnes, and Jim had a vision for this community in 1958. He said, what would it be like if, and they're like, he knows everything. And here's 3 fun facts you probably didn't know about your community. And then rather than going into your pitch, you actually say, God, Matt, so tell me guys, what are you guys trying to accomplish? I can do a lot of things as a real estate professional. What's most important to you? Why are you guys, it's a beautiful house in a great neighborhood. Why are you guys selling this house? You guys should keep this house. Tell me, what are you thinking about? And you go deeper into the, not the superficial stuff. Well, we just want to get it sold. We want to get the highest possible price. We're looking for a deal, whatever. Like, you got to get beyond that into the heart. Why are they really doing this? What's it really all about? What's the backstory? What's the burning thing? What's the, as we know, 80% of consumers that bought a house during the pandemic admitted they compromised on their home purchase. I'm sure you're all calling every person you sold a house to during the pandemic to say, how's this home working out for you? If you're not, it's okay. Someone is. They're going to get that listing. Like it's unbelievable how many listings are coming just from that source, people that bought in the last 2 years. But see, if you're not going deep and really connecting and having the emotional intelligence to know when you've gone too far, asked too much, that one's leaning in and one is pushing back, you know what I'm talking about. It's the subtle things that make the going from ordinary to extraordinary, right? It's someone asked about the books. It's It's knowing my pal Phil Jones exactly what to say. It's understanding, Never Split the Difference by my buddy Chris Voss, all of which are guys I've interviewed multiple times on my podcast. It's the subtle little things you do that give you a little more charisma. And look, every one of you knows this. Just love on their house. See how they respond. Just love on their house.
I
Oh
love what you're saying, Tom, because I was intending to ask you this question, and I think you answered it without me even asking it, which is, shifting from, to a practical approach here at sold.com.
Right.
We bring in all this traffic. These people fill out our little survey,
Right.
tell us
Right.
when they're selling, why they're selling, what's important to them. We
Yep.
then reach out to them. Our concierge
Yep.
reaches out, warms them up, really qualifies them, sets an appointment for an agent to show up and to give a CMA essentially.
Yeah.
And so my question was, what are some of the things that agents should be doing to position themselves as a local expert? But really, your answer for the last 5 minutes was just all about likability, right? How do you set
Right.
yourself apart when we've already teed this up for you? And
Yeah.
then for you to walk in, how do you hit that likability factor over the wall?
So I literally, because I saw that question and I was prepping for a podcast that I'm doing, a training I'm doing this. Let me say a few more in case I missed a couple, and I won't be redundant. I'm mindful of your time. You should know the following. You as someone that is utilizing sold.com, right? You're arbitraging essentially this beautiful portal. You of all people should know these two numbers. One is 35% of all the business you will close ever from sold.com, 35% you will convert in the first 90 days.
It's true.
Day 1 to day 90, 35%. 65% of the business will come in tranches. They will get very small in the next 90 days. They will get a little larger in the next 90 days. We're now at 9 months. And the final group will happen in the last quarter, right? Ending the first year. And then another small percentage happens over time. So the game that we play all the time is, how much rapport can I build? How much value can I deliver? How much likability can we exchange in the first 90 days? And then long-term nurturing forever. Because watching, there's nothing better than going, I just put that buyer under contract. I have been working that person for 4 years.
Yeah.
Right. There's just nothing more rewarding than that. Like, it shows your level of professionalism, commitment. So that's obviously one. Really fast. I'll just go high level. If you want to prepare better, you should call every listing agent and ask for insights on their recent solds. What was it about the property? Can you tell me approximately how many offers there were? Just give me some insight like that, just kind of agent to agent, right? Because I'm preparing and I just want to know more about the market. Number 2, I wrote down, go online. Who built the home? When was it built? Have at least 3 interesting, fun facts about the home, the neighborhood, the land before, the community. How was it named? Who named the streets? Just these interesting little details. Matt, tonight it's I live in a tower in Dallas. And tonight's the cocktail party. The person who has the most interesting details is the most interesting person in the room.
It's true.
The second most interesting person is usually me, the one that asks the most questions, right? So think about it, right? You know what I'm saying. Now, obviously, show up early, dress to win, love on the house, the neighborhood, know it, and you've got to ask the question, if it's real for you, it's a great house. Why are you guys selling?
Yeah.
And then let them say, well, the reason we're selling, and it's because of this and this, and then what do you say? Tell me more, right? Actually, here's my questions. You ready? Tell me why you guys are selling and what you're trying to accomplish. And what you're trying to accomplish is a big one. Well, we're selling our house in the Northeast. We're moving to Florida. We want to pay all cash. We don't want a mortgage anymore. We're tired of the big house. We want the little house now. Fun fact, Matt, side note, please write this down, my friends. All of you, please write this down. The second largest generation right now in the US is the baby boomers. They own more houses, they have more equity, and they're also on the move. Yeah. Now, the millennials are the single largest demographic right now, the age 22 to 42. We know that they're coupling and getting out of college and having babies and buying their first house and potentially getting their first divorce. Sounds tragic, but it is what it is. That's also called 3 transactions, so pay attention, right? Like, all this stuff is happening. Today, I would make the argument, if you're not demographic farming and looking at people that are 60 to 70, 70 to 80, every home in your area, 2-story houses in your area, 75 years or older with no mortgage, it's a listing gold mine. It's an absolute listing gold mine. But when you sit down with them, so tell me, what are you guys trying to accomplish? And then tell me more, and then go deeper, and then maybe tell an anecdotal story, tight. It's got to be a tight story, not a long story, about how you helped a similar couple in a similar situation achieve a similar result. And then you ask them, so what's important to you guys? Like, what's most important in getting this home sold? And you know, I had my buddy in the office a couple days ago. He and his friend started this little company called Zillow, and you know the whole iBuyer insanity, right, Matt? And he said the insight on iBuyer was people wanted convenience. He said, but when we dug deeper, you might want to write this down. What they really wanted was no one to look in their closet. Was no one to open up their underwear drawer. They didn't want anyone to see how unorganized their pantry was. Wow. And they would actually have a 2% higher cost to sell their home, so no one got in their underwear drawer. Isn't that insane?
It's insane. It's in line, by the way, with a survey we did a couple of years ago, which showed the number one thing that people feared about selling was actually preparing for the sale, trying to clean up the underwear drawer, right? Because they know their houses are in disarray. It was dreading the pre-work that killed them. So
Matt, you guys had that insight. I would make the argument for your friends here listening that I would be writing, I'd be shooting videos like, thinking of selling in 2 years in 75201. Here's 4 things you should know. First, you're right. Everyone wants to look in your underwear drawer, and everyone wants to go into your pantry because that's what home buyers do. So here's the 5 things you can do to prepare. Here's the 7 mistakes to avoid. You become the educator for the 2-year out, 18-month out, 1 year out, 9-month out, 6-month out, that series of videos. And you, okay, somebody's asking a question. Tom, how do you find a market of 70-plus-year-olds live in 2-story? Okay, Joel Fries, I think it is. So Joel, I bet in your MLS, there's a button called Remine, REMINE. I was a former investor. The company is sold. I don't know who runs it now, but what I was infatuated with, Joel, was, I don't know if it's Joel or Joel. I apologize. I dated a Joel many moons ago. So whichever one it is, JF, you hit that little Remine button. What I loved is I could do search queries. I could do data mining. I could say, show me in a 15-mile radius from my office, every home that's 2-story, every home where there's no mortgage, every home that is, you know, or I can even say 75% equity, 25%, you know, loan. You do a little data mining and it gives you the list. So whether it's Remine or whatever one your MLS service provider, you know, everybody provides the data. So JF, find the data. It's super easy. If all else fails, call your title rep. They'll get it for you. All right. The last question though, you ready?
Yeah, go.
So when you say what's important to you, you better say, tell me more, right? Tell me more, when, why, and what else? When, why, and what else? So what's important to you guys? Well, what's important to us is, you know, we'd like to obviously sell for the highest amount of, you know, we'd like to be more convenient. We'd like it to be around our schedule. We're kind of struggling with this. My mother-in-law lives with us. She's 95. So showing's a little bit awkward. That would be like true for me. I have a 95-year-old crazy Italian that lives with me. Like, so they tell you all the things. You're like, okay, so what else and when? And so when do you guys want to get it done by and why that time frame? And like, what else do I need to know? And you just suck in all this information. Then you finish again with a story. God, you guys really remind me of another couple I worked with, very similar situation. It was their father-in-law, not their mother-in-law. And you give this relatable, they're like, oh, she's worked with people in our situation before. He's worked with people like me before. Likability is going up. Trust is going up. Yes is going up. Then you transition to marketing. Then you transition to, you know, pricing. Then, you know, you handle all the objections. But at that point, if you got all of that, you've already won.
Yeah. Oh, I absolutely love it. So Tom, the key to sold.com success is that we are matching our customers with the best converting agents, which is why we hold these types of webinars, why we've worked so hard to become an Advantage program partner of yours, you know, and recommend coaching as part of our agents' lives, because we know that helps convert our success, our leads as well, right?
Yes.
So knowing that we're at 10 minutes of the hour, talk to us a
Yes.
little bit about how Tom Ferry works, how coaching works, and how agents can take advantage of this.
So can I do something? Can I do something as a thank you first?
Oh, absolutely. You do you, Tom.
Okay. Hector, do you have a QR code? This is good because we talked about QR code. So here's an excellent example. Before you hit that, watching right now, before you just go boop to check it out, let me explain what you're getting into. You're going to hit that, right? Matt, at the summit where you guys were with me last year with 6,000 people in the room and 26,000 people watching online.
Yep.
I delivered 15 case studies of lead generation. And by case study, I mean, we gave you the hypothesis, the results, what they spent, all the mailers, all the emails, all the scripting, all the pre-work, all the checklists, all the follow-up, and everything they did for 15 different lead generation solutions that real deal generated over $1 billion in sales. Remember, I said to you 3 goals. How many appointments, right? What kind of brand do you want to build? And then how many transactions, revenue, and most importantly, profitability. So don't be that person that clicks on this and then goes, oh my God, I'm going to download all 15 lead generation sources. I'm going to print them all out. I'm going to have this giant stack of shit on my desk that I'm never going to do anything with. Instead, be thoughtful about what it is you're trying to accomplish because there's too much behind there. Like you're going to get on there, you're going to go, wait, I want to download that report. Oh, I want to know the listing presentation. I want to know this. I want to know that. I give everything away because ideas are meaningless unless you go execute. So I give you everything, but I have to forewarn you, you're getting a lot more than you can imagine. So hit that. And then what I would challenge you on is when you're there, there's going to be a pop-up and it's going to say, are you interested in learning more about all of our solutions? We have 5 different solutions ranging from brand new agent to CEO of home services, my personal client, Gino Bafari, to 3 of the most successful teams on the planet that were just in my office selling thousands of homes a year, high-end, Spanish speaking, like we kind of got it all. Only click on that button if you're a lioness. Only click on that button if you're a lion. Don't just be like, oh, let me try that out too. Don't waste your time. Don't waste our time. Does that make sense? I know what we do works. I've got 227 coaches. We're the largest coaching company in the space. We work with people all over the world. Our track record is nuts, blah, 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 blah. The only question you should be asking yourself is, if I give Tom Ferry $1, what's my ROI? And the answer is 7 times. That's the simple answer, 7 times. So if you click that button, know that that's the expectation. That's what we're going to deliver. So if you're making $1 million, get ready, right? If you're trying to get to 100,000 or 200,000 or 500,000, you want to build a team, you want to operationalize marketing, you want to finally get organized, click that button, but not unless you're really into it. So does that make sense, Matt?
It absolutely does. Absolutely love it. Let me, in the spirit of QR codes, I'm going to share one myself.
Right on. Oh, look at this. Hold on. I'm going to hit it too.
So I share this because, as we kind of put a bow on this as we're coming up near the hour, I want to make sure that agents that are on this webinar know a couple of things. First of all, this is a way that you can get in, sign up, join the sold.com network. I want to show a couple of things in here, though, that will be of interest. Let me change this to display mode. Hold on just a second here. And I want to make sure that folks have a QR code, easy way to come in and join. When they do, by the way, Tom, if you're a member of the sold.com agent network, we've got a promo in our partner services tab of our agent portal. And within that, when you click on this agent coaching tab, you actually get a free coaching session with a Tom Ferry coach. So right agents, we're bringing you perks, and one of them is that. Let's give you, going back to the beginning of this call, that we talked about fear and leading to action. Well, guess what? This one's on us. It's free, right? Tom will give you a free coaching session with his team. There is no risk. There is no concern. Do something, please. Go check it out, and I have no doubt that you will find it as beneficial as Tom has professed by way of stats. Now, here's one other thing I wanted to quickly chat about. Again, for folks that either are not yet members of our agent network, or perhaps are, my team should be, guys, let's make sure that we're pushing out right now the link to this page that will allow you to come in and join our network if you're not yet a member. free to join. What happens though is when you do join, you're going to be met with a message that looks like one of these. We're going to actually tell you, this is something that makes sold.com extremely different and unique compared to the portals or the other subscription services that are out there, etc. We're actually going to tell you right away, hey, Tom, in your markets, here's what we are doing in real life. These aren't leads, by the way. We're not talking, we used to talk leads. We're past talking about leads. This is how many transactions we originated in your territory, in your zips that you cover. And by the way, here's what that looks like if you were to quantify it. And great news, you are at the top of the heap. So get ready to party because we are going to flow referrals to you. That's what you hope to see. The reality is not all of you will. You might see something like this at the bottom that says, we got a lot of volume. The problem is you're not going to get it. You're ranked 111th in your zip codes. And so that sucks for you, right? That used to be our business model. We've now created a way for you to change that though. And that is that by coming in, we'll pop up for you once you've come in and signed up. We will actually show you that we've created a subscription service over the last year and a half that will allow an agent who wouldn't naturally win the business a chance to win the business. Think of it as a Zillow featured agent product, but instead of looky-loo buyers that don't transact, we've got sellers who are legitimately transacting. And we will show you what markets are available for you to subscribe and to sponsor. And by the way, for those that are on this meeting and through this link that we've just sent out, we've got a deal through tomorrow and only through tomorrow that will give you up to 75% off sponsorship in the zip codes that we've got available in your territory. And so I wanted to make sure that that was out there as a takeaway as well. As we kind of put a bow on this hour. Tom, thoughts about what kind of, about maybe what you think a service like this could do to help agents in markets where they may not be, maybe they're up and coming, maybe they aren't yet top of the heap, but as far as taking action to get going and to build their business going into 2023, last thoughts.
So I go back to, clients that were with me yesterday, Lisa Chinati, who she basically built her business on a solution exactly like this. She went from 6, like 82 sales in 1 year. So the thing I would tell people is, whether it's sold.com or another, the only thing that matters is how well and effectively you take care of the clients. Like, that's it. Like, this is not a magic pill. You're not going to suddenly get a magic banana wand that makes you more successful. You have to call, connect, follow up. Remember, 35% of all the transactions that are going to happen in the first 90 days. That's because of their intent, and they've soft served them over to you an appointment. But the real money is in all the follow up. So just know what you're getting into. Like, my clients understand every lead source is a great lead source if I work it in a great way. So don't look at this like a magic pill, like you're going to put your credit card in and you're just going to make all this money. That's not how it works. Like, you're going to work hard. You're going to trial and error. You're going to send emails that get responded to. You're going to send emails that don't. You're going to text people that respond and text people that don't, and shoot videos that respond. Right, Matt? It's all of that. It's those of us that care enough about our craft to do the work and test and go after it. That's who wins. And sold.com should be a part of the top 10% of every MLS agent. That's the only people that should be on there, in my opinion, right? Because those people really care. Now, you might be saying, well, I'm in the 27%. Well, then sign up and work your face off and deliver more value to customers, do the stuff we're talking about, and get to the top 10%. There's room for you. We need you there.
Oh, it's so true. And by the way, I want to emphasize the stats you've been throwing around. It just so happens that at sold.com, the agents, the transactions that occur in the first 90 days, sold.com's agents are winning 39% of those today, which is really big. Awesome. And then that's what happens. It goes from 39 with every month. Our capture rate, meaning our agents that we sent out to those appointments, right? Our capture rate diminishes month over month. When the average, by the way, cycle time for our customers is 9 months. That's the average. We get tons of them in the first 3 months, but the average is 9 months. Yeah. And at 9 months, our agents are only winning 9% of them. And so it really is that follow through. These are agents these are customers who are transacting. And if we all love a slam dunk, but the reality is it takes more than the first 90 days to win the majority of the opportunity.
Yep. Yeah. Great data. I need that data next time I'm talking about you guys, Matt. So make sure I get that. Make sure we're having a meeting in the middle of the webinar here. Make sure I get that data because again, you know me, it's all about the data to set the right expectation for people. Do you know what I mean? I'm all about set the right expectations so people know what they're getting into, know they got to do the work. And hey, if it's 39%, that is bananas.
It's been, yeah, we're on
Really
the summit.
good.
Tom, this
Yeah.
has been such a good time. I really appreciate
Yeah.
you being here. I'm sure this has been as fantastic for folks on the call as it has been for me personally. For everyone attending, we know that we will send out a follow-up to this in the next half an hour to an hour. You'll get a recording of this. You'll be able to play this back, play back for your teams. You'll
Awesome.
also get the links that we've shared, the QR codes that we've shared. So don't sweat it if you're in the car and you couldn't click on something at the time. Don't worry about it. It's all coming. We also will get back to you with questions that we didn't get a chance to answer in this webinar. My agent success team will reach out to you as well. So thank you again for being here. Tom, happy holidays to you. Been a pleasure as usual.
Thanks, my friend. Right back to you and the whole team and your fams and everybody out there watching. Crush December. A lot of people are going to put their home on the market and a lot of people are thinking about it in the spring. So you got to make the calls now, follow up now to win that business later. So see you guys soon. Have a great holiday. Take care.
Amen. See y'all.